Welcome to A Nightmare at the Museum. No, I'm not talking about Ben Stiller, because today we're talking about Entitled Parents. Original content, not to be confused with the award-winning film, Night at the Museum, we have A Nightmare at the Museum. To start this story off, I volunteer at a local veterans museum. I usually work on the website, but I also give tours. We had a family come in. They gave me a really bad vibe that could be felt throughout the entire building. We had a Karen mom, a meek dad, and 4 little goblin children that as soon as they entered the museum, split in 4 different directions. They started climbing on the displays. Our displays are over 10,000 feet of military equipment. This includes tanks, jeeps, trucks, helicopters, command cars, motorcycles, and much, much more. Entitled Kid 1 and Entitled Kid 2 got into a fist fight in the middle of the floor and almost knocked down a group of World War II and Korean War vets. Another museum docent and I pulled the kids apart to stop the fighting. And what does the mom do? Does she scold the kids? No, she starts screaming at us for touching her kids, just as one of the kids tries to shove the other kid's head into a steel tank. I should tell you that the family was from Canada and they only spoke French. We backed off and the museum director came on the floor. The entitled mom in French starts accusing us of harassing her kids. Our director, a retired army colonel, spoke French and a few other languages. The woman insisted that we be fired, except we're all volunteers. While all of this is going on, the youngest kid, let's call him Entitled Kid number 4, runs into the rope and starts to grab one of the display rifles. This is a bar rifle, Browning automatic rifle. This rifle is non-functional and weighs over 20 pounds. The kid maybe weighs like 40 pounds. I ran and grabbed the rifle from the kid. The kid fought, and when he tried to pull it away, he fell on his backside. He starts bawling and screaming, and the mom and the colonel saw the whole thing. But then she accuses me of knocking her son down and demands that I be fired. Which again, I'm a volunteer. The colonel says, "Ma'am, we have cameras that caught everything. Your child has been told not to touch the displays many times. You and your family need to leave." The mom looks at him and her face turns red. Her kids are all still running around the museum, but this time with a volunteer chasing each kid. The mom lets out a screech in French, and all 4 kids come running. And then she storms out of the museum saying how rude we all are. The colonel is laughing his head off. After the entitled family leaves, he translates all of the entitled mom's rants. Even the fact that since we hurt her demon, we should have given him the rifle. We're a veterans museum, not a playground. However, this is a day we can all look back and laugh at. Oh my goodness, how entitled can you be? Like, there's few things that demand more respect than museums and veterans, especially a veterans museum. Like, geez, could you not show any respect for the people who put their lives on the line for you? Maybe learn how to show some respect and learn how to wrangle those little demons. Karen wants me to leave the water park because I have tattoos. So since it's finally started to warm up, me and some of my friends, all in our early 20s, decide to go on a road trip. We decided that the appropriate thing to do is go to a water park and a theme park that were right next to each other and spend a few days out there for spring break. So we got the theme park out of the way first and had a good time, but then a few days later we decided to go to the water park. So here's the thing, it's a water park, so obviously I'm gonna have my shirt off for a large amount of the time. I happen to have a few tattoos, not to the point where my whole body is essentially covered, but a good amount. I have one on my wrist that is barely even noticeable, which is some Japanese writing. The other one is on my other wrist, and it's kinda hard to explain, but it basically wraps around my wrist and has some lines coming out of it. It's way better than it sounds, I swear. Third and final one is the most noticeable one since it's a big back tattoo of a giant cross. Anyways, we get there and the first day goes well. It's a huge water park, so obviously we want to ride all the slides. So I'm walking back to our table from the bathroom, and when I'm almost there, there's a lady looking like she's in her mid-40s walks up and stops me. I'm a bit confused, so I wait a minute before saying, yeah? And she immediately says that there's kids here and she doesn't want to see that. I don't know what she's referring to, and I'm hoping nothing's sticking out of my shorts. She immediately points to the tattoos on one of my wrists. That! My tattoo? Is there anything wrong with it? Yes. This isn't a place for kids, and I don't want you influencing them to get one of those things. So I'm not really annoyed, just confused, since this is a place where 90% of people have their shirts off, and at least a few of them have a tattoo of some kind. So I tell her that, hey, this is a public place, and everyone has their shirt off. A good amount of them probably have tattoos. Of course, everything I'm saying isn't word for word, since I can't remember every single word, but this is basically how it went. She completely ignores what I'm saying and tells me to put my shirt on, which obviously I say no to. She tells me to put it on or she's gonna call security. I tell her, do it, and then walk off. I go back to my table and sit down with my friends, and they were literally watching everything go down, and I'm a bit nervous even though I know I wasn't in the wrong. Still, I don't want to get in any trouble with security. About 5 minutes later, when me and my friends go to another slide, she comes running up to us with a security guard behind her. She tells him that I wasn't supposed to have them out, and he was just as confused as I was since he didn't see anything wrong, and she didn't specifically say it was the tattoos. He asked her what she's talking about, and then she gets even more mad and points to my tattoos. Those! He asked her what's wrong with it, and then she goes off on both of us, saying how I shouldn't have those in a kid's place, and she doesn't want her kids seeing this. He apologizes for her and tells her to stop bothering me. She storms off, and I continue my trip with my friends. I saw her a few times again throughout the trip, but I don't think she saw me. Can you imagine being this old school? Like, oh no, I don't want my kids to know about tattoos. Like, come on, everybody has tattoos. Your kid's gonna find out someday about tattoos, maybe from their favorite rapper, Lil Pump, with a tattoo on his face. Jesus. Anyways, she was definitely in the wrong. I don't know why she was freaking out over a small tattoo, but I'm glad it didn't ruin your trip. And I hope you got some sick tattoos. I bet they're pretty dope. If you've gotten this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoy our content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.